Hey, TGIF, everyone. It is Friday. After the week we've been having, thank God it's Friday, but we still got to get through the day without any casualties. um, the market yesterday, we took in pre-market, a lot of blood on the battlefield in pre-market. The Bears, were really pushing it down in the mornings, and at open, when we got into the cash session, markets responded. It pushed back up, but we bumped into resistance, and basically failed at the fire lines of resistance, and so the markets pushed back down, but they held on for the most part. And, we had set the lows in at the market open, and so we did okay there. So we didn't close below the low, but came close to it, I think, for the most part. But um, you know, we're back at it today. So just a little bit of housekeeping here. Everybody knows, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. These videos here are part of my trade journey, and also part of my trade journal. And for those of you that I been working on a physical handwritten trade journal, but at the same time I post photographs and pictures and put things on my trade journal on my PowerPoint. And I'm going to do a video of how I do my trade journal and how that works, and everything. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully, I'd like to work on that maybe sometime next week and have that out, and maybe next week or the following week after that. So going into September. So, but anyways, stocks and options have risks, and they're not suitable for everyone. You can lose your money, and you can lose all of it. And in this market, risk management should be your number one priority. It's my number one priority. Managing my risk, also position sizing is what I'm focused on, and looking for those high probability, low risk trades. But right now, I think this should have a lot of caution in the markets right now, and look for, we can't pick the bottoms, but we can always kind of look for the right setups and see how things are going to play out. So, just remember, I look at cash as a position. So cash is not a bad thing. And I can't blame anyone, including myself. I've got one account that's strictly in cash right now. I've got a couple good to cancel orders put on there, but we've got to have the pullbacks on some of these. And so there's some really, really good buying possibilities. And I'm excited about what may come out of next week and maybe the following week. So I'm very excited about some of those things to make up for some of the losses that I've put in for this week. But anyways, all right, let's jump into today's video. So let's start with the YM, the mini Dow, and take a look at that. Here we have on the Dow. This is the daily, but when you look at this here on the daily, it's really, we've been pushing back here the last 3 days after we set this new high last week, or that was on Monday. I believe it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yep. So that was last Friday, actually. So, we markets pulled back and then fired right back at us, buy the dip. And, the bulls have really been trying to buy the dips on these, but with very little success. The previous day, they did push up. We had a big wick, nice hammer, which is typically a very bullish pattern. So, but it failed here. So, again, that's why I always wait for confirmation. At least I try to wait for confirmation, but emotion sometimes gets the best of me. FOMO is a real problem. And I have to focus really hard on that. The weekly trend, still very, very bullish. I'm expecting that we get a push down, possibly a little further today on the Dow, and maybe even into next week. I think we're going to test this 21 EMA right here. Is the green line with the green dots is my 21. So that's the mean, and we are in a weekly squeeze. MACD, everything's pointing down to the downside. Downside we have on the RSI is below the 50 line, so that is that is bearish. That is a bearish signal. So we are moving towards the oversold into things. So we're not there yet, but we are getting into that oversold territory. Ticks, we're kind of all over the place yesterday. RSI is up over, I'm sorry, the VIX is up over 2336. So that has been pushing upwards also. So there's more fear in the market. When we're above the 20 line, we see a lot more fear in the markets. Okay, I want to look at the this is my chart on the 139-minute chart or 195-minute chart, and this is kind of showing me that where we're at here, what we're looking at in this candle. This candle opened up at 4:15 a.m. this morning, so kind of got a little bit of a doji candle going on here, and the TTM squeeze, we are showing, momentum picking up a little bit to the upside, but it's struggling. The MACD is down there and, not ready to cross over yet, but it's right on the lines. And our RSI is below the 40 line. So we are bouncing a little bit off of the 30. Get into the 30-minute chart. We saw this morning at about 3 o'clock, and in the futures, a pretty large pullback. We've been bouncing off of the 3 ATR line. So, typically it's going to trade in these ranges. These are the Keltner channels, 1 ATR, 2 ATR, 3 ATR. The Bollinger Bands are tightening up. So, that is going to keep price action at a bay, but we may not see. So it may be pushing down a little bit, but again, the histogram here on the squeeze is showing some movement to the upside possibly. And then we've got here on our 15-minute chart also showing the same thing. Histogram is trying to fire a little bit up to the upside here. The MACD is off its line and showing some decreasing momentum possibly. So again, pre-market sometimes very difficult because it's just not a whole lot of volume, but that's kind of where we're at there. So let's take a look here at the let's go ahead and jump into the Russell. The Russell it's got resistance or support right down here at 2096, or roughly, close to 2100 here. So we've got this double bottom setting up here, possibly, a double bottom. And so this could be, we may see, this is getting down to the oversold. So we may see a bounce here. This is on the daily chart. So we may see this push down here, may not see as much downturn. So, but I still think this has got more downturn to go. And so we may see a bounce up here, bounce back up to the 2164, or possibly back up to the mean. The mean will probably begin to meet, and I think they'll meet up right in this general area here, and we'll push back down possibly. But again, double bottom is a bullish signal. So I'm going to be, I did enter a short on IWM again yesterday. And then, but again, very short term, I'm, I may hold this a little longer, but just because, but we'll see how that, and just put that on there to try to protect myself because I assumed that we would push down a little lower today. And so we're bouncing, like I said, here's the resistance here on the weekly chart. Weekly chart is usually a very strong indicator because it's a long-term trend, but according to all indications, we are in a weekly squeeze. We are, it has not fired yet, but we have movement to the downside. MACD histogram is showing more increase in momentum. So look for this. If this level fails, then we are heading down to, below to the 50 and possibly a little bit further than that. So something to keep an eye on there. I know I am. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is right there also. It responded, and this blue line right here is the 15,000 line. And I want to show basically, let me zoom in here on the daily chart. And it's been testing this 15,000. It was using this 15,000 as support. It failed. It closed below it. We went lower. We came back and tried to test it. And failed and came back, and then we shot lower, came back, tested it, failed, and then yesterday we turned around and it was struggling trying to get there yesterday. When we look at on the shorter time frames, we can see that a little better here, in the 139 minute. It's been hovering on that $15,000 since we broke that. So that is really, it's acting as a real tough resistance for us. And so that most likely, my friends, is an area that we need to, the NASDAQ needs to take that out and close above that and hold that 15,000 before we begin to see that. And I think what it's going to take the FANG stocks in order to do it. Right now, Google, Apple, and those alike are, just not getting it done right now. In the downside of that is because it's August with the seasonality of things. August, September, October, typically we see this, and so that's why I say with this happening so mid-August right now, with a couple more weeks to go in this month, just might see more downside to the NASDAQ. It's, I think, the weaker of the group, but mainly because of the FANG stocks, and that they're also heavily weighted in the S&P, and so they kind of control things. So if those begin to pick up and move, then we're going to see our indexes begin to move. And so I'm keeping a close eye on those, and we'll just see where that leads us. Let's jump into the S&P now. When we take and the S&P, kind of similar situation. You can see some similarities. The S&P is holding on the weekly chart. It is holding this 1 ATR as support. It has been trading between 1 ATR and 3 ATR pretty consistently, and so we'll see if we can hold that here. And we did get a close below the 21 yesterday, so we've had 3 days in a row close of the 21. We have a daily squeeze on the histogram showing on lower momentum, so more downside to come. I really think that the S&P will return below that 1 ATR and possibly get to the 21. So I think, to see that on the weekly chart. So I think we're going to see some weaker momentum here, and we'll, as we did back in, this is August of last year, right here on this corner right here. This is August, September, and into late September, October, right before. This is the seasonality. This is where we're at right now. So we, if this trend holds, This is what I believe we could see. So this is why I'm watching this very, very closely. And we can see we jump into the shorter time frames on the S&P. We see our ATRs and our Bollinger Bands have opened up a little bit here, and it allowed it to go to the downside. Well, we'll see. We're getting some consolidation right here at the -1 ATR. So on our 195 chart, and then we go over to 30 minute. It's bumping into the 21 EMA, and not just doesn't have the oomph or the momentum to get through that and close above the 21 on the shorter time frame to maybe kick off a rally. But again, pre-market, sometimes we don't see that move in pre-market, and then might wait till the cash session opens at 9:30. On the 15-minute chart, kind of similar to the 30-minute and also our 195-minute, but we are showing some movement, and we'll see if this 15-minute candle can close above the 21. This candle has it opened at 7:15, so we just got the new candle just opened, if you just saw that just now. So this shows right here that it is that candle closed above the 21. So we'll see if we get some movement to the upside here. And right now we have a neutral candle, so it's kind of a little bit hard to see, but it's kind of a doji candle. It's right here. You can see it here on our 30-minute. There, it's popping in there. But anyways, so that's kind of where we're at here this morning, guys. And today is monthly expiration, and so I'm sure there's a lot of people that are underwater on their trades, and it's going to get ugly here, I think, possibly today. That's kind of my feeling. That's my sentiment. So, but we're still looking for good opportunities, and but maybe a good time just to close out some of my positions. I think today I've got I got an XPX trade. It closes out on an income trade that expires on Monday. So we will probably exit that, because unless we get some type of miraculous move here today, we'll probably close that out, take the loss on that, and that before, instead of taking a full, because if it closes where it's at, we've got a max loss. So I don't really feel like taking the max loss if I don't have to. And it's about preservation of capital. So everything else is right there. So we got some time on them, on my, a couple of Apple, we got some time on, and Crocs, I have some time on those to see if they can, pull up here. So we may stay in those and for another possibly through next week, see if we get a bounce, and we'll go from there. So that's what I got here for myself here today. This is what I see. Make sure you click this like button, subscribe, make a comment, let us know what you think of this. Like I say, this is part of my education. This is part of my trade journey, trade journal for my review. It does help me out at the end of the day. The biggest thing is I need to follow my own advice based on what I see here today. So with that being said, have a happy Friday. Have a great day trading. Happy trading to you, and we will